Welcome to 32 and 32, where we count.
Anyway, that's beside the point. At the end of the day, it's a business.
If you're the Rams, you are officially coming off the absolute worst performance in the Super Bowl ever. I think Robert Kraft is peas in someone else's pod.
I mean, y'all Super Bowl wins are so old. I mean, the rings are probably to dust right now. So,
not about the Eagles today. We're talking about the Bears.
Yeah. So, as usual, let's take a look first at their free agent signings. Thanks for watching, folks. That is today's analysis of the Minnesota Vikings. All right, welcome to 32 and 32, where we break down one team every day for 32 straight days, all leading up to the NFL kickoff on Thursday Night Football.
What are you doing?
Oh, I'm watching the Giants highlights from the other night, and Daniel Jones is doing really good, so I figure it must be a game.
Asshole.
I mean, how else could he be good?
You're just with the savageness today, huh? You're just on savage mode today. Just really?
Yeah.
Is that the little faith you have in the G-men next season?
Did they do well last year?
Saquon Barkley was probably the only bright spot of their season last year.
Yeah, he was also the best quarterback on the field. And now you trade your best receiver away to Cleveland. You know, not that the Browns are complaining.
I mean, you give away your probably your best linebacker, Olivier Vernon, and he's constantly playing. I don't know about him, but after looking at the Giants preseason game, I actually have some faith in Daniel Jones. Though it was only preseason, it was a good way for Daniel Jones to really show what he possesses and what he can bring to the table for the Giants offense. Like I said, it's just preseason. I mean, we had players do really well in the preseason, show a lot of poise, a lot of talent, a lot of potential, and they just flop in the regular season.
Oh, yeah, well, that's typically how the preseason goes. In fact, the preseason, ironically, is usually the mirror opposite of the regular season. It's like, oh, our team went 4-0 in the preseason. What does that mean? It means you're going to go 0-16.
It's like the undefeated preseason curse. I mean, the Lions went through it, 4-0 preseason, and I think they went 0-16 that same year, right?
Something like that.
It's
a preseason.
Preseason is basically for, to knock the cobwebs off, bet you can get your hands on somebody else, and for a lot of undrafted free agents to get a spot on the team, because preseason rosters, you start up with up to 90 players, and they got to cut 47 of y'all. Well, no, I take that back. 37 of y'all. They got to have a 53-man roster going to the regular season.
So, I'm not sure if Giants fans are too optimistic about this year. Like I said, Odell Beckham's no longer there. Let's see.
Landon Collins is no longer there.
Eli Manning is still starting. Your only other option right now is Daniel Jones, who is completely unproven.
Well, and that is also true. But they do have Saquon Barkley. They do have the tight end Ingram. They do have Shepard at wide receiver. And not only that, let's go to their draft.
The draft?
Shall we?
Yeah, okay.
Let's go to the draft.
Pull out the draft.
Because looking at their draft class, there is some optimism there for their draft. They did sign DeAndre Baker, who was one of the top corners in the nation last season out of Georgia. They got Dexter Lawrence from Clemson, who was one of the top defensive tackles in the nation. They end up getting...
How do you sign someone who doesn't even play in the NFL yet?
I mean, I'm pretty sure all their first-round draft picks have been signed, right?
Well, I think it would just make more sense if you said they drafted because...
Yeah, they drafted DeAndre Baker.
Okay,
I'm sorry. Look, all right.
I'm being super technical here.
All right,
okay?
all right. You're being a D-hole. Look, all right. So let me rephrase that so that way I can stroke his ego. They drafted Dexter Lawrence out of Clemson, who was one of the top defensive tackles in the nation. They drafted DeAndre Baker, who was one of the top corners in the nation last year, out of Georgia. They also drafted, and this is a linebacker I have a lot of hope for, edge player O'Shane Zimenez out of Old Dominion, who actually had getting a lot of looks going into this draft, was highly touted. So looking at the talent that they drafted this year, and looking at these young guys coming in, I do have a lot of hope for the Giants in the future. I mean, I'm not going to see significant improvement. I don't think this is going to be a playoff team going to next season, but I do see that this is a team that's trying to go into the right direction.
Team going into the right direction. Maybe relocating to a different city would be a good start.
So you think the Jets is going to run them out of town?
I don't like what the Giants are doing. I really don't. It's like they passed up on the opportunity to draft someone like Sam Darnold this year. They now got Daniel Jones, which he may turn out to be a good quarterback. I don't know. He's coming from Duke. How good can he be?
Well, my thing about Daniel Jones, and from the time his name was called by Roger Goodell, no one had faith in him. I feel that people would have been a lot lighter on Daniel Jones had he would have gone later in the first round instead of the Giants passing up Dwayne Haskins, because a lot of people were thinking Dwayne Haskins next quarterback for the Giants, and then the Giants just pull a rabbit out the hat and they get Daniel Jones, and it pissed a lot of fans off. Well, I would have been pissed off too if I was a Giants fan.
And let's go back to the Odell Beckham trade. Okay, I get the fact that Odell Beckham was being a diva. What top receiver is not right now? But they traded him to the Cleveland Browns, who are now on the verge of being a really good team and closer to the Super Bowl than the Giants are to the Toilet Bowl.
Oh, wow.
But you trade him away from the 17th pick, which you got Dexter Lawrence for, and then a pizza party.
I don't know. Looking at the young talent they got in, I do see why fans are optimistic. I do see the Giants make an improvement within the next 2 to 3 years, but it's going to be a process. I'm pretty sure. Depending on how Daniel Jones performs this year, throughout the preseason, I wouldn't be surprised if Daniel Jones doesn't get any action during the regular season, since Eli Manning is the franchise quarterback, and it seems that Eli Manning will not leave. I hope he does. I actually hope that this is going to be his last season, because Eli, you are way past your time. You are like milk. You have expired and you taste kind of bad.
At least Peyton knew when to hang it up. It's like, I can no longer throw. I'm going to quit now. Eli's like, I can no longer throw. I could play another 8 years.
Eli's time to hang it up. Eli, I like you. All right.
You can't diss 2 Super Bowls.
He got 2 Super Bowls, but that was when he was in his prime.
I know. Well, I know.
He was able to give that franchise 2 championships, but that was during his prime. It's just ever since then, we haven't seen the same Eli.
Yeah, well, now he's like prime rib. A whole lot of fat and little meat.
Oh, wow. I can go for some prime rib.
You do that.
You know who could probably go for some prime rib? New York Jets defensive line.
Well, they didn't get much of a chance yesterday. They get, I guess, I don't know, stuck with the bone of the New York strip.
You and all these puns today. I like it.
I'm unloading today, bro.
I don't know what's gotten into you.
Probably what has gotten into me is what I should have done all this time. Just be myself. A total and complete ass.
I like this side of you better. Just raw. Here's John Barron's raw and uncut. Like, how in the world y'all didn't know he was a complete ass? Like, this dude's had me locked in his dungeon for like the past 300 something days. Though he feeds me and makes sure I get my 8 hours of sleep and make sure I take my medication and make sure I get my playtime outside and make sure I have my toys and make sure that I'm not going crazy. I mean, I'm kind of locked up. I do want to kind of leave. Just playing. He doesn't have me locked up. We're not crazy. We're just humorous people.
Yeah. So, any other draft picks stick out to you? Because I stopped paying attention after the third round.
Oh, I mean, you pay attention longer than I did.
Fair enough.
Actually, they're top 4 draft picks. I feel that, Daniel Jones, Dexter Lawrence, DeAndre Baker, and O'Shane Ximines are the 4 guys that can really. I feel that the Giants are going to build around those 4 guys to. As far as building a new regime, I mean, they already have Coach Shermer out there. He's going to his second season of the campaign, and I feel that he's going to be a lot more comfortable. But also, let's look at their free agency.
Okay, I forgot they got Jabril Peppers in the trade, so
and they end up getting Golden Tate because they do need some veteran leadership in that receiving core.
They signed Golden Tate, but they gave up Odell Beckham.
But for Odell Beckham, they were able to get Jabril Peppers, and not only that, they were able to lock up. They were able to draft, Dexter Lawrence.
So okay, so that to me that's like trading in a jet for a blimp.
Oh wow, that was kind of harsh, but okay.
I mean, yes, Golden Tate is still a good receiver, but he's no Odell Beckham. Yet they're like, oh, we still got another quality. No,
like you over here acting like they traded away Odell Beckham. Now it's the end of the freaking world. Bring on the apocalypse, all on the New York Giants fans. Look, I mean, we've seen teams do things like a lot more stupid, a lot more dumb. I mean, we've seen teams make like more stupid moves than what the Giants did.
You mean like trading Robert Quinn for a 6th-round pick?
Exactly. Miami. We've seen teams like just act dumb, stupid, and retarded. Yes, I use that term, and I don't care that we're in the 21st century. But, I mean, though they traded away Odell Beckham, and that's something that you're putting a whole lot of emphasis on, to where you just want to go ahead and preach to the choir on it, because of the youth they got coming in, because of some of the players they got during the free agency, like Golden Tate, and Jabril Peppers, and Cody Latimer as well, and Antoine Bethea to go into the secondary. There is a little bit of optimism for this New York Giants team. There's going to be growing pains, and they're in a very competitive. They're in a division that's gotten a lot more competitive. I mean, you look at the Eagles; they're poised for a big year. You look at this Dallas Cowboys team. I mean, if Zeke can end his holdout, Dallas can be dangerous. You look at Washington. Look at the players they got coming in. They got Dwayne Haskins. He's probably going to be starting next season. Washington has improved. So, because of how competitive this division is, I don't see the Giants making a whole lot of noise, but I do see them making some type of improvement and making some type of adjustments, and I feel that their improvement is going to progress as the years go by.
Yeah. So what you're saying basically is you think that the other 3 teams in the division are just going to continue to separate themselves from the New York Giants.
Exactly.
So how is this a good optimistic outcome?
Well,
for the
all right. Hang on. Pause. Let's pause the Jets for a second. You really had to do that?
You said pause, so I paused.
This podcast is not a game. Complete ass. But all right. Here's what I'm saying. Though we're going to see some type of improvement from the Giants, I do still see the Giants finishing last in NFC East. I mean, just because you're last in your division doesn't mean doesn't always mean that team's going to be 3-13 or 4-12 or 5-11. I'm talking about because of how highly competitive the NFC East is. I don't see the Giants rising up in the NFC East yet. But there will
for several years.
I say for maybe 3 or 4. 3 or 4 more years.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see if they.
Well,
can actually...
I'll say anywhere between 2 to 4 seasons. We'll see a gradual improvement of the Giants. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Okay. I mean, I kind of like the Giants. I always had like that little in me to where I really liked them. I rooted for them in both Super Bowls. Actually, the last 3 Super Bowls they were in. That the one against the Ravens was a joke. Anywho, but right now they're a doormat, and I don't see how they're doing too much to get off that doormat. I mean, not only a doormat, but they're a doormat shaped like a butt with it saying "Stomp here."
I thought of something, but I'm not going to say it. That's not appropriate for this podcast. You said in the shape of a butt saying "Stomp here." I mean, the shape of a butt. I don't know if I'm going to stomp it, but
Well, everybody else is stomping their ass.
I was thinking. All right. I don't know about him, but I do see that the Giants are going to make some gradual improvement over the next few seasons. That's how I feel.
We'll see.
I mean, you got Golden Tate on a 4-year deal. You end up getting Jabril Peppers from the Cleveland Browns. You end up getting Antoine Bethea, though he's getting a lot older. He's on a 2-year contract. He's going to provide that veteran leadership in the secondary. Knowing that, do I have to go over their draft picks again? Their top 4 draft picks. I do think that this is something that, I mean, don't expect, instant improvement, but if I'm a Giants fan, I would look forward to the future. If I'm a Giants fan.
I'll give it to you. They do have some good players on it. They did make some good moves. And Daniel Jones can end up being the next Peyton Manning. A better next Peyton Manning than Eli Manning was. But, what it comes down to right now really is the front office. I mean, how many coaches have they gone through the last 5 years? Seems like $500 million by now. And what are they doing? What is the front office doing to prepare for the future other than surprise everybody with like taking Daniel Jones at 6 overall? When he probably still would have been there in the third round.
I remember the live show. We were both surprised because I swore up and down that these guys were going to get Dwayne Haskins. Because in my opinion, Dwayne Haskins is a better quarterback than Daniel Jones. I don't care what anybody say. You can go ahead and sue me for it. Dwayne Haskins is a better quarterback than Daniel Jones. But apparently, if a team makes like a surprising move, usually it means that they probably know something that we don't. They see something that we can't. But with Daniel Jones, like with the Giants, you're just going to have to play the hands play the hand that you're dealt with. Daniel Jones is in New York, and soon he's going to be the starter. That's going to lead the Giant regime. Might as well get used to it. Okay. I got some hopes for Daniel Jones. Because there's a lot of naysayers, a lot of doubters of Daniel Jones. I mean, look at Daniel Jones. He has a big arm. He has pretty good pocket presence. He has that picture perfect frame for an NFL quarterback. Mm-hmm. And I mean, if you look, he has the intangibles. He has the ability. He has the potential. So because of what he can bring to the table for this Giants offense, especially being under an offensive-minded head coach like Coach Shermer, I have high hopes for Daniel Jones. And I actually do hope that he succeeds in the NFL. I hope that he leads this Giants team out of the doldrums.
Well, I do too. I'm tired of seeing the Giants always in the bottom of their division. Bottom, like picking at the top 10 every year. But you say it. to me, it makes the game more interesting where you have a rotation almost of teams that move in and out. I mean, sure you can have your teams that make the playoffs every single year, like New England, but I mean, I like having a little bit of variety in my playoffs. Every
Same
year.
here. I love seeing teams that usually don't go to the playoffs and they make the postseason. That's why this season is going to be it's going to be super fun because we're going to be seeing teams like the Browns and the Jets emerging, out of the doldrums and really making a lot of noise in their respective divisions, and not only that, in the AFC. So I mean, we're going to see the Patriots in the top spot of the AFC. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't end up in the top spot in the AFC. I mean, are we going to see the Chiefs in the top spot? Most likely. But also look out for teams like, the New York Jets and the Cleveland Browns. Those type of teams.
Okay, so I guess that wraps up this video on the New York Giants. Don't want to drag it on for too long, like most Giants seasons.
Oh, wow.
Anywho,
I'm about to grab this cord and I'm going to choke him.
thanks for watching, whoever does, and we'll see you next time.